Reneé Rapp's story is not just about fame, bright lights, or viral performances. It is about resilience, reinvention, and the quiet fire that burns inside someone who refuses to shrink for the comfort of others. Because before the red carpets and sold-out tours, before the bold interviews and unapologetic confidence, there was a young girl with a voice too big to ignore and a heart learning how to survive in spaces that often try to mold powerful women into something smaller, safer, and more acceptable. And what makes her journey so compelling is not just that she became famous, but that she did it while choosing authenticity over approval again and again, even when that choice came with criticism, misunderstanding, and immense pressure. Growing up with a deep love for performance, Reneé found early on that the stage was not just a platform but a refuge, a place where emotions could be turned into art and vulnerability could become strength, and that emotional honesty would later define her music and public persona in ways that connect deeply with millions who see their own struggles reflected in her lyrics. Because when she sings about heartbreak, anxiety, confusion, or ambition, it never feels manufactured. It feels lived in, it feels real, and in a world saturated with polished personas and curated perfection, realness becomes revolutionary. Her breakthrough moment on Broadway was more than a career milestone. It was a declaration that she belonged in rooms that once felt unreachable, and stepping into a demanding role that carried legacy and expectation, she did not simply perform. She commanded attention with a voice that carried both power and fragility, reminding audiences that strength and softness can exist at the same time, and that duality would follow her into every next chapter of her life because Reneé Rapp does not perform characters as much as she embodies emotion itself, and that is why people feel her rather than just watch her. Transitioning from stage to screen and then to music is not an easy path. Many artists attempt it. Few succeed authentically. But Reneé approached each transition not as a reinvention of image, but as an expansion of identity, allowing different parts of herself to surface through different mediums. And when she stepped into television, bringing intensity and depth to her role, she proved that charisma is not about being loud, but about being undeniable, about owning space without apology, about delivering lines with a presence that makes audiences lean forward. And that same presence translated seamlessly into her music career, where the stakes were even higher because music leaves no place to hide. There is no script to follow, no character to shield behind, just your own voice and your own truth. And instead of playing it safe with generic pop formulas, she leaned into raw storytelling, crafting songs that feel like diary entries set to melody, where heartbreak is not glamorized but dissected, where self-doubt is not hidden but confronted, where empowerment is not shallow but hard-earned. What truly separates Reneé Rapp from many rising stars is her refusal to dilute her personality for palatability. She speaks openly, sometimes bluntly, about her experiences, her mental health, her frustrations with industry expectations, and that candor can make people uncomfortable, but it also builds fierce loyalty because authenticity attracts authenticity. And fans today are not just looking for talent, they are looking for truth. They want artists who admit imperfection, who acknowledge fear, who show that success does not erase insecurity but teaches you how to move forward despite it. And Reneé embodies that perfectly, standing as a reminder that confidence is not the absence of doubt but the decision to act anyway. The entertainment industry can be both a dream and a battlefield, especially for young women navigating scrutiny over their appearance, behavior, relationships, and opinions, and Renée's journey reflects the tension between external expectation and internal identity because as her platform grew, so did the noise around her, headlines, commentary, opinions from strangers who felt entitled to judge, yet through it all she continued to show up, to perform, to write, to create, proving that resilience is not about being unaffected but about continuing even when affected, even when criticism stings, even when vulnerability feels risky, and that persistence is perhaps the most inspiring element of her rise. Her music carries themes that resonate deeply with a generation grappling with self-worth in a hyper-digital world, where comparison is constant and validation is quantified in likes and comments, and when Reneé sings about not feeling enough, or wanting more than what she has been given, she taps into a universal ache. But she does not leave listeners in despair. There is always an undercurrent of defiance, a refusal to stay broken, an insistence that pain can transform into power. And that transformation is what makes her not just a singer but a storyteller for those who feel unseen. Fame often demands conformity, yet Renee's boldness in interviews, her humor, her occasional sharp honesty, signal that she would rather be polarizing than invisible. And that mindset is courageous in a landscape where being agreeable is often rewarded, because to risk being misunderstood is to value self-expression over popularity, and that is a lesson far bigger than celebrity. It is a life philosophy, one that says your voice matters even if it disrupts comfort, even if it challenges norms, even if it does not fit neatly into expectations. Her journey also highlights the importance of evolution, because she has never presented herself as finished or fully figured out. Instead, she allows the world to witness growth in real time, shifting styles, experimenting musically, refining her artistry, acknowledging mistakes, learning publicly, and that openness about growth dismantles the myth that successful people have everything sorted. It shows that becoming is a continuous process, that ambition and uncertainty can coexist, that you can chase greatness while still discovering who you are. Behind the glamour of performances lies relentless discipline, countless rehearsals, vocal training, long studio nights, emotional investment into lyrics that demand honesty, and while social media may capture highlight moments, it rarely captures the quiet grind that builds them. Yet Renee's trajectory speaks to years of preparation meeting opportunity, to the truth that talent alone is not enough without courage and consistency, and that message is powerful for anyone pursuing a dream, because it reinforces that setbacks are not signals to stop but steps along the way. What makes her especially inspiring is her visible humanity, the way she allows cracks in the armor to show, because vulnerability is often mistaken for weakness, when in reality it requires immense strength to admit fear, sadness, or confusion in front of millions, and by doing so she creates a space where fans feel less alone in their own struggles, transforming celebrity into connection, stage into sanctuary. As her career continues to expand with bigger stages, broader audiences, and deeper creative risks, there is a sense that this is only the beginning, that the boldness we see now is just the foundation for even greater artistic exploration, and that anticipation is fueled not just by talent but by authenticity, because audiences invest in people whose journeys feel genuine, whose successes feel earned, whose imperfections feel relatable, and Reneé Rapp embodies that relatability, wrapped in undeniable star power. Her story reminds us that dreams are rarely linear, that doubt can coexist with ambition, that strength can look like softness, that confidence can rise from insecurity, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is refuse to dim your light. For the comfort of others, and in watching her rise from passionate performer to multifaceted global artist, we witness not just the making of a star, but the unfolding of a voice determined to be heard on its own terms. And that determination, that refusal to be silenced or simplified, is what transforms her journey from entertainment news into inspiration. Because beyond the songs, beyond the roles, beyond the headlines, there is a young woman continuously choosing authenticity over approval, growth over stagnation, courage over fear. And in doing so, she becomes more than a celebrity. She becomes proof that staying true to yourself in a world that constantly pressures you to conform is not only possible, but powerful. And as long as she continues to channel her experiences into art that is fearless and honest, her influence will extend far beyond charts and stages, shaping conversations about identity, confidence, and self-expression for years to come, reminding every dreamer watching that success is not about fitting in, but about standing firmly in who you are, unapologetically and relentlessly. No matter who is watching, what makes Reneé Rapp's evolution even more magnetic is the way she transforms pressure into propulsion. Because once you step into the spotlight and the world begins forming opinions about who you should be and how you should behave, it becomes dangerously easy to start performing a version of yourself designed for approval instead of truth. Yet Reneé has consistently shown that she would rather risk criticism than surrender authenticity. And that decision shapes everything about her trajectory, from the tone of her interviews to the intensity of her live performances, where she does not simply sing notes but releases emotion like a confession poured into a microphone, standing under stage lights not as a perfectly polished idol but as a human being daring to be transparent.